So welcome to the house of God today. For those of you who are watching online, I am Dennis Muthuri, and we welcome you to the service this day from wherever you are watching. I will just try to share with you a couple of things that I've been reflecting on around fatherhood. Fatherhood is the message of the season, and the message and the emphasis for this particular gathering for in the time that we are in. Fatherhood is the emphasis for infamy, has been the emphasis, understanding how fathers relate to sons and sons relate to fathers, and also understanding, courtesy of Bishop's series on heaven's deposit and the earth's demand, understanding what is it that fathers are meant to bring out of sons. And this is basically a couple of musings around this particular topic. And one thing I came to understand is that fatherhood is something that the act of fatherhood is meant to give you a new spirit, to take advantage of what God has already given you. So if you think about it, and taking from Bishop Mulumbi, he said that you can have potential, and he used the example of a person who's working on a mineral that is precious, yes, but has less value because it is rough. Those are known as roughs. So it is rough, but it has to be polished and cut and smooth so that it is appreciated in value. Right? So the person who's doing the cutting does not add anything else to the mineral. He brings out the best of what is in the mineral. And that is the role of fatherhood via the aspect of chastening, via the aspect of the word. When you're given instruction, when we are given insight, when we are given teaching, we see that fatherhood uses these tools, or spiritual fatherhood uses these tools to cause what heaven has deposited within us to come out. Whereby it does not necessarily, how do I say this? You are trained to know and to pursue God's perfect will, right? The will is already there. The perfect will is already there. You are just being redirected and being aligned to know, and you're being sharpened in understanding and knowledge to be able to know what you have and also how to bring it out. And not only bring it out, but also thrive in it. And not only thrive in it, but thrive in it for a long time, right? Because the aim of fatherhood is to create what lasts, not what is for the short term, right? Teachers, as Paul said, you have many teachers, but you can only have one father. He was referring to the fact that you can only have one person who is able to do the necessary cutting and molding and chastising that leaves a deposit that ensures that the deposit that heaven has already given to you lasts and is sustained. But you can have teachers who come in at various times and they bring out different things. They specialize, right? So the person who's doing the cutting, again with the mineral example, they know how this thing is supposed to look like in the end. But they might have a team of specialists they're working with to do specific things. But they're the ones who are basically owning the whole process from start to finish. And in this way, this means that there are times in your journey, as even Bishop has allowed us to, there are times in your journey whereby you may be introduced to even other ministers, right? Be it online, be it in person. And there's nothing wrong with listening to them, only as long as they are feeding into the work that has already begun. The point of having a teacher is that they emphasize the work that the Father has already started. The work that has already begun is the work that is under emphasis. It is not that they are now introducing a new work. If a teaching introduces a new work, question it. It may not be a bad teaching, by the way. that person may actually is actually and probably is teaching a good thing, but they are not teaching you what you need. It's not for you. It's not what you need at this time. It's not the emphasis of your current. It's not the emphasis of your current season. It's not the emphasis of where you are in light of purpose. You will have teachers who come and go, teachers who stay with you for a while, but still teachers. Doesn't matter the duration, just because you might need some specific sort of impartation from them. But there is one permanent figure who is with you on site, right? In person, because you model fatherhood not remotely, but in person, right? So you cannot have someone who is essentially fathering you. You have to meet, right? If it's anything to go by, the parallel or the word father is used because we have the natural understanding of it. And if someone had to raise you physically, then it means that, from childhood till maturity, then it means that someone also has to raise you physically and in person, where they see you, where they can correct you, where you can actually catch and learn from them. You understand that if you are not in proximity, right, with where the person that, if you're not in proximity to the person that is meant to be fathering you, there will be gaps. There will be gaps that are evident when you try to shine forth in the thing that heaven has deposited in you to do. And this essentially is there is ministry, which we can actually just go. If I go into Ephesians 4, just to read. Okay, great. So in Ephesians 4, the goal, or rather the whole purpose of this thing, is his intention, after Paul introduces that, and his gifts were varied, that is Ephesians 4:11, and his gifts were varied, I'm reading from the Amplified Classic, and his gifts were varied. He himself appointed and gave men to us, some to be apostles, which are special messengers, some prophets, which are inspired preachers and expounders, some evangelists, which are preachers of the gospel, some pastors, which are shepherds of his flock, and teachers. In fact, in the original, and this may shock you, teacher is not a separate gift. It is all these are meant to be teachers. So the teacher is not this standalone thing. Every one of this person is meant to be a teacher. Because in each and every one of these, in verse 12 he says, his intention was the perfecting and the full equipping of the saints, that they should do the work of ministering toward building up Christ's body. In fact, in the KJV, it is for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. That is the role of fatherhood for you as a believer. That is the role of fatherhood. And now you might be asking, okay, if this is truly the end, that the end is that I am perfected as a saint, that I am perfected as a saint for the work of ministry and for the edifying of the body of Christ, why does this person have a say in my life? Right? I thought they would only have a say in what concerns ministry. But what you don't understand is what affects your life affects ministry, right? That's why they will have a say, and they will be given a say in the kind of relationships you pursue, right? It may even extend to even the kind of career that you take. Someone will actually tell you, you'll go to them excited, hey, you know what, Bishop started this thing, and and then he looks at you and then says, are you sure of that thing? And they're like, yeah. Says, okay. Say, okay, continue. Now, obviously, if you're wise, you'll kind of see that this continue has not come with enthusiasm. And you will investigate, right? And there are times he can even, the father in your life can even see that you may not be ready for the truth. So we'll just allow you to continue, and you will actually prosper in the thing. There's nothing that says that you cannot excel at the wrong thing. It is even better that you fail at the wrong thing quickly, so that you're easily directed. That failure becomes a thing that causes you to wake up, than to succeed in what you ought not to and spend time heading in the wrong direction. And as Mary said, there is no advantage. Speed is not an advantage when you're driving in the wrong direction, right? If you're driving a car fast, but you're heading the wrong direction, it's not a benefit to where you're supposed to get to. And you understand that this introduces us to the fact that fatherhood has a language, which is one of the musings that I got. Fatherhood has a certain language. The problem is people get too tied up in the expression, in the vocabulary that is used, in sometimes the tone that is even used with regards to communicating this particular intention. But all this, if understood from the perspective and the environment of love, will bring you to a point of understanding that, hold on, if I am in the environment of love, which is patient, which is kind, which is long-suffering, which is what 1 Corinthians 13 basically says, that if it does not seek its own, if I am in this environment, then my eyes will start, my hearing actually, will start to perceive what I am being told as love heading my way. That when I am being told, do not invest in this direction, right? And I'm like, but this person doesn't even know the field and doesn't know this thing and doesn't know. It's true, they don't. But remember, spiritual technology is faster than natural technology, right? There's a reason why discernment is a gift of the Spirit. Yeah, there's a reason why, imagine, wisdom, word of knowledge is a gift. Word of knowledge is a gift of the Spirit. Why is it not naturally occurring? I can know a scam before it happens. Yes. Like Paul actually says in, I think either it's 1 Corinthians 12 or 14, when he's talking about the gifts and how they should function. There's a place where he mentions that when you're speaking in tongues, basically, that let the unbeliever, when they come in, that the secret of their heart is revealed. That they may, he uses dramatic language where he says that they may lie prostrate on the floor and worship. But basically the thing is, when someone comes who is unsaved, who is not saved, and they come into a fellowship and you flow in word of knowledge concerning them, they are shocked that the Spirit, someone can actually, like God is actually aware of my life, and there's this particular gift that is operating. If you think about it, that is how some of you ended up joining this church. Like you are that person who was not believing, and the secret of your heart was told, and you ended up here, right? So that particular gift, it's a gift of the Spirit. So you understand that when your father is operating, when the father figure is operating in these particular gifts as you are supposed to, there is insight they have. They just may not have the same vocabulary as you. They just don't have the same vocabulary of industry as you. But they may tell you that, hey, that relationship will not take you far. Or do not go in that direction. I don't know why, but for now, just wait. And that is the language of fatherhood. The language of fatherhood is to cause you to introspect before you go, right? The language of fatherhood causes you to develop a different kind of mind. And this I even just give credit to the fact that early in the week I was meeting with Rev Richard, so we're just discussing about the sermon, and it popped up in the discussion. And one of the things we're looking into is how, fatherhood gives you a different mind to use. You're being fathered so that you get a better brain. Yeah, so that you get a better brain. Why? Because Your downfall is evident when you have independence. Fatherhood is meant to introduce dependency on a different mind. It's just that unfortunately, it has to come through a person. By the way, I wish it never came through a person, but I imagine it has to come through a person, that in order for me to grow, in order for me to become perfected for the work, I actually need a better brain. I need a different kind of thinking. I need a different system of perception. I need a different culture. I need a different mode of understanding things. I need a different way to perceive. I need better eyes to see. And that is all in the mind. That's because we see through our mind. We see through the area of the mind. And you perceive with your heart as well. In fact, the Bible, when it's using mind and heart, sometimes it uses them interchangeably, actually. Hebrew just says where it's mind, heart can be used, where it's heart, mind can be used. Basically, you get a new persona to be able to make use of the deposit that you have, so that you can be useful for the work of ministry, so that you do not take as much time to get there. The quicker you adopt the mind the Father is giving, the faster. The more, speed is relative, but you will not make unnecessary mistakes, which add to your journey.